the first questions I get asked is, look, I know I need AI. I know I need automation in my company. I just don't know where to start. Right. And that's often the first step I take with a company is, hey, do you have an AI strategy? Does your department, does your company have an AI strategy? Do you know what you're trying to do in the next 6 months, the next 12 months? If this is so important to you, it's one of those things you want to fit a square peg in a round hole. If it doesn't need AI, don't use AI.
Mm.
Use what's been effective, or there might be a different tool that might make it more effective. And we can help with that as well. But that's the first question you got to ask yourself is like, is this important to you? And if it is important to you, you want to implement it. Do you have a strategy in place? And how to formulate that, it can be tough. I mean, yes, you can talk back and forth with ChatGPT to help you formulate something, but once again, it might not be effective. It might suggest AI where it might not be effective. The other thing I often ask people, as part of this process is, have you actually mapped out your workflow? Have you done a box diagram of like, hey, when I have to make a sale, I have to do this, and then that leads to this, and that leads to this. And if you take a step back and draw that out, it can be very enlightening for a lot of people because they'll see it and say, yeah, actually, you know what? I spend a lot of time on this when I want to spend a lot of time on this.
Mhm.
If I could reweight this whole thing, I would love to spend a lot more time closing the deals than this initial sales research or finding the right contact or seeing if they're a viable client for us based on our services or what we sell. And those are the things like in that one small scope, that's where the process goes. And then that's when you could say, "Hey, okay, now can we effectively use AI for this? Or maybe we got to use automation. Maybe we can't afford hallucinations. We need to put some automations in place that will maybe pull this information for you, fill out your CRM for you, or provide you that information so that you can be effective." So that's kind of where we see it going. What I typically ask is, hey, do you have a typical business model you follow? Like I know for us, we use the EOS implementation for companies. And part of that is you have your process, right? And that's kind of where I started even with my own company is, hey, I run Systematic Business Consulting, is my recruiting firm. We have the systematic process, which is our 30-step recruiting process. If you have anything like that, that's typically the first place to start is look at that. And then you go through your own steps. And that should hopefully start to map that out. And just taking that snapshot, most business owners, most managers know where they're struggling. They know the parts where it's like, this is where we're weak. This is the area that we waste a lot of time doing this, or we spend a lot of resources or anything else. And it's still an issue. And those are the ones that's like, man, how can I alleviate this headache? How can I potentially streamline some things to be more effective? And oftentimes, where it starts the most is from that person themselves, the manager or the president or whatever else that's coming up there. They're going to say, hey, my own workflow kind of sucks and I'm not getting the effectiveness of it. So let's strategize for myself. And once I strategize for myself, I can take these practices and move them to my team and see where their shortfalls are. But like I said, the mapping piece is a great way to start, and then you can move to the strategy piece. But at the end of the day, it's also nice to have that plan of like, man, these are things I would love to get implemented in the next 6 months, in the 12 months beyond that. These projects take time and it's highly effective and amazing when it gets into place. And you will be 6 months beyond that and think, how did I ever do without this? I can't believe I was just typing stuff in Excel before and copy and pasting. That was ridiculous. Why'd I do that? This is so much easier. And it just makes you a lot more effective as a person working, and hopefully
Sure.
gives you some free time along the way.